I've been here in Northern Ireland since 1994, working initially at the Royal Victoria Hospital and the Belfast City Hospital for 2 years. And then I joined as the locum consultant at the Mater Hospital for 9 months, after which I got this permanent job at Lagan Valley Hospital. I was born in Srinagar and the year was 1954. It's a pretty long time back. You see, my father was in the army and he was at that time posted with the United Nations in Srinagar. And that was a beautiful posting because we went back there several years later and I realized what a beautiful place it is. In fact, it is often referred to as a paradise in India. And then subsequently, I started my schooling in a place called Lucknow, which is the capital of the state of Uttar Pradesh. And I have very pleasant memories of my childhood there, where I remember we used to have a holiday every time it rained. And I cannot imagine what would happen if I was going to school here in Northern Ireland. And I remember my childhood as being very happy. I remember my parents, we were just 3 girls at that time. My brother was not yet born. And we were a very close-knit family. We each had a pet of our own. I had a dog. We lived in a huge bungalow. These were the old British houses that were built. And because my father was in the army, we had this house to ourselves. We had a battery of help in the house. My father had the orderlies from the army, so everything was always spick and span. And my mother was a wonderful organizer. And we always had lovely meals at home. We had parties. We had people coming over. So it was a lot of fun times. And particularly times like Diwali, which is the biggest festival in India. My memories go back to those days in Lucknow when Diwali is usually celebrated over 5 days. And on the first day, there used to be so much of excitement because my mom used to wake us up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And we used to have the traditional Diwali bath, which is anointing yourself. Our mother used to anoint us with oil and these lovely lotions and give us a nice warm bath. The traditional Indian way, which is the bucket and a mug, which is quite alien probably to this part of the world. And then we would be dressed up in all these beautiful clothes which had been stitched for us, tailor-made, long skirts with gold brocade on them. And we would be smelling lovely because of the perfumed oil that we had on us. And then we would be bursting firecrackers and sparklers. And then we would have the traditional Diwali breakfast, which Mom would have made for us. And then the celebration just went on over the next 4 or 5 days. And that, I think, was the high point of the year during my childhood. Strangely enough, I knew nothing about Northern Ireland when I first came here. My only connection with Belfast was Professor Dundee, who was the head of the Department of Anesthesia at Queen's University and who had authored a couple of textbooks which we had used during our anesthesia training in India. So when I first came here, I knew nothing about the troubles here or the politics. But that is not what I saw first. When I first came here, I was wondering, where are the people in this country? There was nobody on the roads, which is something which is not seen in India at all because of the population. And then I realized this is normal. I thought it was a holiday or somebody had died and that is why there was nobody on the roads. So that is the first thing that struck me. The second thing that struck me was the people were extremely friendly. And that made settling down into Belfast, Northern Ireland, much, much easier, you know. They were very welcoming. They accepted me for what I was. And for me, settling into the job was not difficult at all because I had heaps of experience from India. And that definitely helped because they acknowledged that I knew what I was doing. And the work was the main thing initially. And then gradually I made friends and settled into the lifestyle of Northern Ireland. And then I discovered the history behind it and what made it tick.